OK, so before we get to any of that, though, it is, of course, time to talk about the royal family. Never a dull moment with the Windsors, and a warm welcome to the former royal editor of The Sun, Charlie Ray. Hi, Charlie.
Good evening, Kevin.
Now, the coronation. We are now convinced 100% that King Charles will extend an invitation to both Harry and Meghan.
Yeah, Kevin, this is something we've talked about, and we talked about it many, many weeks ago, and it's nice to see the various papers are actually catching up on what we actually said, that there would be an invitation going out to both. But the big question is, are they both going to come?
Yes.
And as we revealed all those weeks ago, Meghan has got the perfect excuse to stay home in Montecito because on the day of the coronation, little Archie is 4 years old, and she's more than likely going to use that legitimately to stay with the kiddie and enjoy the birthday party. Now, if she does come over with, I nearly forgot his name. How could I? Harry.
Prince Harry.
Yeah, lost his virginity.
You know, the guy who goes into fields.
Yes, that's the one. It's only come back to me. Now, if they both come over, that's going to cause a huge distraction. Now, if Harry comes over on his own, be here for 48 hours, yes, he'll be a centre of attention as far as the media and the public are concerned, but there won't be that much damage done, to be perfectly honest. So, yes, they're going to get the invite. Are they both going to come? We'll have to wait and see. The actual invites, Kevin, go out in the next week or so to all the 2,000-odd guests who are going to be lucky enough to watch this historic event.
I've been reading that the expectation, potentially, is that Meghan won't come for the reasons you've just stated, or shall we say for the convenient reason you've just stated, and that Harry will be whisked in for a quick 48 hours, attend the function, the event, and then back to Montecito. Yeah. Does that sort of tie in with what you feel?
Absolutely. And like his uncle, Prince Andrew, he should not be seen in public ever again. They will be at the coronation, but they'll be in the back seats somewhere, or even if they're in the front seats, I'm sure there'll be people nearby making sure got hands on their shoulders to make sure that they can't say or do anything. So yeah, they'll both be there, but they won't be having any major involvement in the actual coronation.
I'm hearing also from my friends in America that we've already heard the stories of the falling popularity of Harry and Meghan across the pond, because of course initially the Americans loved the fact they had this royal couple in their midst. Well, they're getting a bit fed up with them now. They're sick of their whining and bleating. And I'm also hearing that they don't really like this story about Harry losing his virginity in a field. They don't like the story about Andrew having sex in a bath. They think this is unroyal, and it kind of, for Americans, it spoils the royal fairy tale.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right, and I think particularly in America, because Americans can be a little bit straight-laced about all this sort of
tell you they can, mate. They can.
Yeah. So they're not as gung-ho as sometimes as we are, but I suspect there's an awful lot of people in Britain as well. I mean, we know that the Prince Andrew is not their favourite person or favourite royal at all, but they're also getting fed up with the way Harry revealed that Sasha Walpole took his virginity in this field, and she's getting all the credit for being upstanding and taking it with and dealing with it with some dignity, if that's at all possible. But you're absolutely right. Americans are starting to lose the sparkle with Markle. To be
nicely put. You still got it. But conversely, Harry and Meghan, apparently, because, of course, his book Spare became the fastest-selling book in publishing history. 1.3 million copies sold in about the first day, apparently. And, of course, their Netflix documentary series, controversial though it was, picked up a nice audience. So they're getting new contracts, apparently. Netflix and the publishers are gathering around them, offering them more and more money. So in purely financial terms, the muckraking that this couple have done has brought the bacon in.
And I think I heard today that they're in some talks or negotiations with some billionaire, to get involved in various other programs as well. I mean, they've got to be able to do something else. They cannot keep on saying, "Oh, my father hated me. I was with my brother." Meghan, I've got a half sister who I've never had anything to do with. Who, by the way, is taking Meghan to court.
Yes.
Over the Oprah Winfrey, interview. I mean, this is a couple who've got a season ticket to appear in courts all over the world.
The good thing on their part is that they know the drill. I mean, they've launched enough lawsuits themselves, but this is Meghan's half-sister Samantha, who is suing for the kind of comparatively paltry sum of $75,000 because Meghan acted like she didn't exist. I'm not sure that it's actually defamatory to say someone or to act as if someone didn't exist.
I think it's also got to do with the way she portrayed the family that she grew up with. There's no question at all that she had some sort of relationship with Samantha for a time. How long that relationship lasted, I have no idea. But she was certainly at Meghan's graduation and everything else. And obviously Samantha feels quite hurt about it. And it's interesting that her book about Meghan didn't do all that well, did it? Really, it's not certainly.
It was no spare, was it?
It was no. It definitely was no spare. And I think as well, Samantha is acting on behalf of their father, who we haven't heard much from over the lately, because she feels that Meghan's been quite cruel towards the father, which is an argument, but we'll have to wait and see if it actually gets to a court case with that one.
But what we do know about this lawsuit is it does look as if the gruesome twosome, Harry and Meghan, will have to sit down to be deposed, and apparently they're going to be asked 38 poignant questions, such as, was the Queen a racist?
Yes.
So it could be quite an uncomfortable period.
It will be very, very uncomfortable, and they're going to have to sit down, and they've already tried to get this kicked out when the judge has said, no, we can go ahead. However, the judge is reserving judgment on whether the case will actually get to a court. But it could well be, whatever the result is, that they'll have to sit down and answer all these questions, including the one you've just mentioned.
Yeah,
be interesting, that will.
Yeah, I kind of can't help. Well, I probably shouldn't say this, but serves them right.
Yeah, quite.
Now they know how it feels, you know what I mean? Let's talk about Prince Andrew. We're still hearing that he's going hell for leather to try and clear his name, to get back to frontline royal duties. I mean, what is it going to take for the message to get through to this guy?
I don't. It's sheer madness. Because you talked a few minutes ago with Nigel about Michael Jackson and paying out all this money, to Jodie Chandler.
Yeah.
Well, it's as you quite rightly pointed out, it's exactly the same case with the Virginia Giuffre, the woman who claims that he had sex with her, which obviously he's denied all along. But we've still got the same question:
why did you do it? Why did you give her 12 million quid?
Who you say you had no recollection of meeting? We've seen the photograph. I don't understand who is behind him saying, go on, Andrew, go on, you'll get out, this is what we'll do, and you'll get round this and everything else. There is no court in America that will listen to these pleas without any new evidence, and as far as we can tell, there is nothing. We've heard all. We heard all these details, all the details from the allegations that were made from his interview with Emily Maitlis. What else has he got to say? It is sheer madness for him to carry on, and not only is it going to carry on bringing him, more criticism, it's going to cause criticism for the royal family and the new king, because he'll be associated, even though Charles has put him out to pasture, taken away all his military titles and everything else, he's still linked because he is the king's brother. And that is the big problem. There is a bigger problem for the monarchy than there is for Prince Andrew.
You're right. I mean, who's advising this guy? Somebody needs to sit down with him and just say, look, give it up, Andy. It's never going to happen.
But this is, as again we've discussed before, this is an arrogant man who believes he is always going to be right, who believes he has got a role to play. And of course, he was the darling at one time of the royal family. He was a helicopter pilot. He saw actual action. And it's amazing, isn't it? As did Harry, the only two real royals who've actually been to a war zone. And look how they've both ended up.
Yeah.
You know, very, very well discredited.
This is, I think, one of the papers today or yesterday. This is the non-story of all time, sensationally revealing that Prince Andrew will not be given a ceremonial role in the coronation of the king. Tell me something else I don't know, yeah?
Yes, exactly. I mean, as we say, there's no way he could be standing anywhere near the king as he's crowned and the queen is crowned. It's just not going to happen.
This is what I think, Charlie. Right? We always say, you always read all these stories, and there are quotes from palace insiders about, you know, the king loves his brother, but realizes that, or you know, has come to the sad conclusion that he cannot return to royal life. He loves his brother, but feels that the Jeffrey Epstein affair has put paid to his future as a royal family member, etc., etc. He might love his brother, but I don't think Charles likes Andy.
Well, he can't. Can you imagine if Charles is sitting there with his slippers, just talking to Camilla at night and thinking, what have I done to deserve Andy? What have I done to deserve Harry? Yeah. You know, what have I done wrong? I've tried to lead a good life. I've tried to be kind to people. I've started off this scheme that helps young people get off the dole, and I've banged in loads of money and everything else. I open up all sorts of things, and then I've still got Andy and Harry to deal with. No.
Yeah, okay. You just imagine going, I've got one of them in a field, another one's in the bath. Can't they just have sex in a bed? But, you know, talking of Andy, just before you go, Charlie, you know, these kind of exhaustive attempts he's making to try to get back to the front line. I mean, we talked about it last week, but the madness of that picture that they released to prove that he couldn't have had sex in the bath at Ghislaine Maxwell's house.
I've actually kept the cutting of the picture because if I ever feel sad, I just look at that picture. And it is just such a great picture of two grown-up people sitting in a bath, both wearing his and her masks of Andrew and Virginia Giuffre. And it's just what on earth possessed Ian Maxwell, Ghislaine's brother, to bring out this picture.
Crazy.
In a vain attempt to prove they couldn't have had sex in this bath. It doesn't do that at all. All it does is that two people managed to get in that bath.
Yeah, well, I think the original idea was to prove that two people couldn't get in the bath. And they proved that by releasing a picture of two people in a bath.
Yeah.
Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
But at the height of all the troubles, that two people from the legal teams got in the same bath, fully clothed, and they already
put those masks. Pretty bizarre. Charlie, great to talk to you as always. We'll do it again next week.